Hey guys, it's Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're going to look at some AEW wrestling. That's right, we're going to get into professional wrestling. We're going to take a little bit of a break from the XFL. Right now, I've just got a little bit of XFL overload right now, and so I'm just going to take a little bit of a break. Spoiler alert, I'm a professional wrestling fan. Now, I've been out of it for a little while, but I'm just now getting back into it. And if you haven't checked out AEW, you need to, because it's going to be a joy for you. And if this is the first time that you're here, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're watching my videos. I know most of you guys are here for my XFL videos, and I appreciate you watching those. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, check out AEW, and I'll give you a few reasons why as we get on in this video. If you're a return viewer, thank you for watching again. If you're new to the channel, again, I hope you like this video, and I hope that you subscribe and check out the other content on my page as well. And please, guys, if you haven't, seriously subscribe. I need all the help that I can get, especially right now as I'm trying to build up this channel and do that. So any little bit that you can help me with, I would really appreciate that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into the content. So I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, and for about the last 6 months or so, I've been following AEW, and they have I've just been giddy. I've been so excited. They have taken my expectations, which have been here, and then just raised it through the roof. It has just been amazing watching them. It has been fun. If you're looking for a fun ride and a way to just kind of waste 2 hours and just have fun with wrestling, tune in on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock to TNT. You're going to get something special, and you're just going to enjoy yourself. It's just going to make you, if you're a wrestling fan, it's going to make you feel like a kid again, and remind you why you fell in love with professional wrestling, as opposed to this crap we've been getting from WWE of late. I mean, I feel like the bar just can't get any lower. And then they create a new bar with WWE. But thankfully, we have AEW to watch, and man, they've been giving us some great stuff. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you my review, my little bit of commentary and all that stuff on it, because I'm just going to have fun today. Today, we're just going to do a fun little video. Like I said, get out of the XFL world for a little bit and get in the wrestling world. I think it'll be fun. So let's go ahead and let's look at this. So AEW has been my guilty little pleasure on Wednesday nights, and it started off with a bang. They came out, we got the pyro and everything going on. Again, it is reminiscent of Nitro 1997. I mean, it is just great. It's big and it's grand, and having Tony Schiavone and JR, it just takes me all the way back. So we know all that. But we go ahead and we start out, and who do we start out with? We start out with SCU. That's right. We have Christopher Daniels out there and Kazarian. They're both out there getting ready for the match, and they're coming down the ramp. We're getting ready for this match, and the Lucha Bros show up out of nowhere, and they beat the snot out of them, and then they give a pile driver Christopher Daniels and knock him out of the match. So what happens? Scorpio Sky, who's also part of SCU, he has to come in and he has to take Christopher Daniels' place. And the cool thing that I like about this is something that they knew was going to happen in AEW. But the cool thing is Scorpio Sky wasn't in his stuff ready to wrestle. And so it was cool too, because they kind of led into this that, hey, any parts of these teams, their team members, their stable members, they had to stay in the back. So for this tournament, only the ones fighting could be out there. So Scorpio Sky had to be in the back. Well, he comes rushing out after they beat Christopher Daniels down, and so they don't get disqualified. He has to fight and he has to wrestle. And remember, he was the one keeping himself back because he felt like that with the experience of Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, that it would be best for SCU. So they went through, and I thought that was great, having him go in the match. And like I said, he wasn't really in his wrestling gear, so he was in close. They just had a great match. It was back and forth, and SCU and best friends, and they're going back and forth, and man, it was good stuff. It was fire. You thought 1 minute that that Best Friends was going to win, and then SCU. And it was kind of funny because one of the guys from Best Friends, and I don't know them real well, really great wrestlers. He takes Scorpio Sky's shoe off and throws it into the crowd. And so for like half the match, Scorpio Sky's flying around doing all this stuff in a sock and a shoe. He finally ends up losing his other shoe or whatever. And it was kind of funny because the crowd was just in it. They were electric from the get-go. They threw his shoe back into the ring, and it was hilarious. And even at the end, when they're going up the ramp after leaving, like his shoe comes back at him. It was funny. It was fantastic. There's a little bit of mix-up there at the end where Kazarian and Scorpio Sky were trying to pull off a move, and it didn't really go real well to do the finisher on one of the Best Friends. But they ended up winning, and that was good. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see probably something being like SCU and Lucha Bros are going to be probably the two tag teams that are going to be fighting in the finals. So they're kind of building that up, which I really, really liked. That was a really good thing. And then we went right away into Santana and Ortiz versus pretty much the Jobbers. And guys came out, Santana and Ortiz. It was nice because it wasn't a WWE squash where WWE squash is like boom, it's like 2 seconds and they're done. It wasn't a 2-second kind of a match, but it was one that was nice because we got to see Santana and Ortiz do some tag team stuff together, which was really, really good for me because you got to see kind of what they do and how devastating they are. And it didn't go on too long to where it was definitely still a squash. And so after they squash these jobbers, then Jericho comes up on the big screen and does this promo. Now, this was kind of a weird thing to me. I kind of wish they would have done the promo with him coming out and them doing it in the ring and having the crowd reaction and all of that. But they put it up on the screen, and pretty much what he does is he cuts this promo like Jericho does. Jericho's one of the best in the business, the best there is about cutting promos. And pretty much what he does is he says that Santana and Ortiz want a match with the best tag team, and that's why they're challenging the Young Bucks for Full Gear. And so we're going to have a match at Full Gear. We're going to have Santana and Ortiz versus the Young Bucks. Sign me up for it. I love it. I love the promo. Well, it was just really weird, though, because the whole time Santana and Ortiz were like yelling and screaming during it. And I think they were like saying like the best or something like that. And it was distracting. It was kind of weird. And they just went on way, way too long just shouting the same thing back and forth. And it was just like they could have ended it a whole lot quicker than that. And actually, the next thing was the Cody promo. And I probably would have rather them taken the extra 30 seconds with the Cody promo and given, taken some of the more content that they did with the Cody promo and do that. This is the one that I did like up on the screen, and I like they played it up on the screen. They showed Brandy, his wife, they showed his mom, they showed DDP. And just about the dedication and what Cody's had to go through. And they've really been playing this thing up to this championship match with him and Jericho. Just the idea that Cody has worked so hard and that the one elusive thing that's always been there in his life has been the championship, being the champion. And he's never gotten an opportunity to do that. And this is his opportunity. He doesn't want to waste it, doesn't want to lose it. But he's also... like, he's not just fighting, right? He's running a business and trying to do everything with that and keep AEW afloat in that. So they kind of did one of those, I don't know, it's like almost like a behind-the-scenes type of a cut and a promo. And, I mean, they just, you felt it. I mean, you know, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, it got you closer into Cody and, who he is and that. So I really, really liked that. And I liked how... you got to see the human side of him, and it was really kind of an ESPN type of a thing. And and WWE, if you're paying attention, AEW just did something that you probably should start doing and adding into your promos and stuff, because the way that they cut that and the way that they kind of made it real life, and interviewing different people. They had MJF in there as well, and it kind of like made things all bigger, and added extra tie-ins to it. Kind of like when ESPN does that with their college football, or they'll talk about a player and, in the commentary and talk about him, and that kind of gives you a little bit more vested interest in him. And so it was great. I love that they did that. And WWE, you need to take a page out of their book, especially when you're trying to make things less professional wrestling and look more like a sport for your Fox product. This is something that you could probably do. but like the promo, and we went into the women's championship match, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not one that's a huge up on the women's division. I think that the women do a great job of wrestling, and I've been pretty impressed with them, but it just usually a lot of times, is not something that I'm truly that interested in. But Britt Baker and Rijo brought it. Every night Rijo gets out there, she is just as small as can be, but this girl brings it, and the crowd was in it from go, and you could tell they were on her side. And Britt Baker is a face. Man, the crowd loved her, but the crowd was behind Rijo the whole way, and they were just with her. And I thought it was a great match. It showcased both of them, both of their strengths, and it even had me going at the end I'm watching this thing intently. What's going to happen next? What's going to go on? And the ending was perfect. So they've been building up Britt Baker with this kind of, they call it lockjaw. It's like her submission where she gets in and she's got kind of the arm bar, and then she's got them, around, and then she sticks her hand in their mouth, and then that's how she beats them. She's been beating people like that, right? So she goes and she's got Rijo up in that, and we know, and Rijo, is fighting it. Finally, she gets it. But here's what happens. Rijo gets her, rolls her up, and gets the 1, 2, 3, and shocks Britt Baker. And that's great because she keeps the belt, and Rijo looks good because she keeps the belt. She looks strong in the match against Britt Baker. They're going to be fighting again. Britt Baker's going to have this belt at some point here soon. But the way that they're doing it with Rijo and Britt Baker was great. They're letting the belt stay on Rijo, and they're showing us that they're going to give us title matches, and it might not change hands, but it's going to be a good match. They're not just going to do a throwaway match. It's going to be, what they did was very, very good, and I enjoyed it, and I love the way that it ended, and it was a great match to me. Again, you got me watching, and I'm invested. What can I say? I like Rijo and I like Britt Baker. They both did a great job, and the crowd was in it. They were amazing. Now we move on, and this was kind of a stinker point to me, is that we've had 3 Dynamites now, and we have not seen Luchasaurus. I want to see some Luchasaurus. I love me some Luchasaurus, and we have not seen him yet, and we did not get him because he was legitimately hurt. So I thought that this match was just going to be terrible. And it was one that I was kind of worried about anyways, because, with the whole SCU and the Lucha Bros thing, I knew that Jurassic Express was going to lose, but I didn't want them to lose. I wanted them to win because I really liked Jurassic Express, but I really liked the Lucha Bros thing that was going on, so I was just a mess. So when Luchasaurus was out, it kind of was a relief to me, and it was one of those things where I was just like, this match isn't going to be good. Now, because they put in Marco Stunt, and Marco Stunt's 5'2", and the guy weighs a whole whopping 90 pounds wet, and he's not muscular. He's just a scrawny little guy. And then you've got another smaller guy in Jungle Boy, who, it cracks me up. JR keeps calling him, everybody else calls him Jungle Boy, keeps calling him Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and I'm like he keeps going, well, Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Well, there goes Jungle Boy Jack Perry. He keeps calling him that. He's trying to get it to stick, but everybody else just calls him Jungle Boy. Just call him Jungle Boy. You don't need to add the Jack Perry on the end. It's kind of a little, I don't know what it is, but, whatever. JR's been trying to get that thing over and whatever. But I was surprised. Those guys came out and they gave one heck of a match with the Lucha Bros. And it was one of those things where it was like, Marco Stunt, you got out there and, he did like I don't know, they kind of threw him around and he did some like kind of hurricanrana thing. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, here we go. And that's what they did. I mean, it wasn't like he tried to like strong, arm them, and they got their licks in, and Marco sold things to where it was like, yeah, the bigger guy's beating up on the little guy. But you know what? The little guy got his stuff in there, and they figured out ways to stay in the match and did pretty decent to where by the end of it, you're like, great, good job. You guys did awesome. It was like, my expectations were blown, and I had really low expectations thinking that this was going to be a low part of the show, and both of the tag teams rose it to another level. It was awesome. And then they took the show to the next level. And right now, I don't know if there are anybody out there who's wrestling better than Page, Omega, Moxley, and Pac, they tore the freaking house down. Those guys are legit. Those guys are good in-ring talent, and the crowd was behind them the whole time. It was awesome. I mean, you're watching these guys punch and, trade blows back and forth, elbows, lariats, and these guys, like, they're selling well. They're hitting all of the marks, and it was just a show, and they're putting on a show for regular weekly. A regular weekly show. I mean, they're pulling out, granted, they're not doing all of the big theatrical stuff and all this and that, but these guys are wrestling. They're putting it in. You could tell. I mean, nobody is wrestling at the level that these four guys are wrestling at. And that's going to bring me to another point, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I'm just going to be honest with you. When I sit down and I watch WWE and they give me a tag match with a whole bunch of guys who aren't tag teams, they don't know what to do with them. They get in the ring and I don't know, it's usually some type of stupid DQ thing that goes off in some crazy world or whatever. I don't know. WWE just does not know how to do tag team. And I do not get excited when I hear that it's a tag team and not for any type of tag team division. It's just they're putting guys together because they're part of the main storyline and they're going to put a match together. It never goes over well. I never want to watch it. It's a sucky, main event or, mid-hour or whatever, mid-show, kind of a match. And they never come out well. I never like them. And this is different. When you had Omega in there and Moxley running around that ring, them boys can wrestle. And those guys are right now, like I said, those are two of the best wrestlers in the game right now. And they've got some great chemistry in the ring. They're figuring each other out. Man, they're just hitting each other back and forth. And it means it. And they're putting their heart and soul in it. Like, I can feel Moxley every time he's in that ring. And you really feel like he's really wanting to get Omega. And Omega's wanting to get him back. And Pac's just trying to get in there because he feels like he's been slighted. And Paige has something to prove. I mean, it all flows together well, and you can just see them beating the snot out of each other. And they're going back and forth, and I love the way that it is. I mean, like, it's must-see TV. You can't take your eyes off it. It's not just something thrown together because it was part of your main storyline, and these are your biggest guys. These are your biggest guys putting on a show in a match that really doesn't mean anything. So that was what was cool to me. And then so it finally got to the point where Omega and Moxley, they're like, Showdown City, which was awesome. And the crowd's just going wild as they're going back and forth. They finally go out and they finally get, they go and they both find the barbed wire broom and the barbed wire bat that they had. And they start to go at each other. And Pac stops him because he doesn't want to lose the match. Because remember, in AEW, wins and losses matter. So we go from there, and he throws those out of the ring. It takes off John Moxley because he takes it out of his hand. John Moxley gets him. I think he's calling his finisher the Death Rider now. So he gives him that, and it's the double arm DDT. Kind of lifts him up, and brings him down, and then he just marches out. He just leaves, and so Pac's left there. Now he's dazed, and then Omega and Paige just take advantage of it, and boom, they take Pac out, and they get the 1, 2, 3, and it's the end of the match. And it was awesome from the word go. I enjoyed myself, and really, it meant nothing. It furthered storylines. It got me moving in places. I really, really enjoyed the match. And the other thing that they do in AEW is they know how to do tag team moves and that stuff. I mean, even Paige and Omega and Moxley and Pac it wasn't like this grind them, pull them in your corner type of a thing, and then they kind of do this tag team kind of hit thing and that. No, they're doing moves together, and they're leveraging things. It's just like I said, AEW knows how to do tag team wrestling, whereas WWE doesn't, and I don't know why. It just feels like they don't get how tag teams are run. I think sometimes it's just something that's more of a I don't know, like an afterthought. It's like a whole bunch of singles wrestling, and and so it's like a singles match where you're kind of tagging and bringing other people in instead of like this, working together as a tandem type of a thing. And it like I said, it just WWE never works out for me. And AEW, like I said, it was fantastic. I loved it. They stole the show. These guys, like I said, are the pinnacle of wrestling talent right now, and there's just nothing like it on the other shows. Get to our main event. Darby Allen. I got to take my hat off to this kid. This guy has just been proving himself. When you first look at him, you're thinking, oh, great, another one of these hardcore, crazy, idiot guys. The kid can wrestle, and the kid's really good, and he showed me a lot of things. Halfway through the match, Chris Jericho goes, and he literally tapes Darby Allen's hands behind his back to where for, I don't know, probably about a good 5 minutes, Darby Allen can't use his hands. And so he starts fighting this match without any hands, and he does a heck of a job. I mean, he even climbs up to the top rope without any hands. And does flying moves off the top rope. Now, finally, he goes, and I think he was kind of getting ready to do that coffin drop. That's kind of his finisher. And Jack Hager, or Hagar, or I don't know, however they're calling him. But he came in, interfered with the match, and then, Jericho got Darby Allen to submit, and that was the end of the championship match. Darby Allen, you did a great job. See, Chris Jericho kept the belt, won the match, but got Darby Allen over. He didn't make him look weak, and they did what they needed to do. And it was great. Everybody enjoyed it. It was a great wrestling match, and they ended with again Chris Jericho's inner circle going down to the ring and them enjoying some of the bubbly, and with Le Champion. And so it was overall it was fantastic. If I had to give it, I don't know what are we gonna do here. If we're gonna give it a grade, I'm gonna give it like for a TV show. Best is 100. I'm going to give it a 92. I enjoyed the heck out of it. There are only a few things that I didn't like. Like I said, I'm wanting give me some Luchasaurus. We've been teased Luchasaurus, and we haven't got him yet. And so I want some Luchasaurus. But And the whole thing with the Jericho promo, and I just want to see more in-ring promos. I love it when they cut promos in the ring and the crowd, because the crowd's in it. You've got the crowd the whole time, and with the AEW. So if the AEW can do that, man, they've got the crowd eating out of their hands with that, and I mean, it'd just take it to the next level. So those were the two things that drove me nuts. Like I said, I want to see Luchasaurus, and the cool thing is that we're going to get an opportunity now that really the actual Jurassic Express team with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, we're actually going to get to see them, kind of. I think it works out best for them because they weren't beat as a team in the tournament, so that they can get pushed later. So I'm pretty excited. Those were my thoughts, and that's what I thought about the AEW 3rd edition of Dynamite. Question is, what do you think? Do you like professional wrestling? Do you not? Do you think that I'm just a crazy nut, and now you know why that you don't watch me that much, or why I'm as crazy as I am? I don't know. I'd love to have some discussion, though, down in the comments section. Tell me what you think, what you like, what you don't. I'd love to, go back and forth and have some discussion. I love doing that. You guys are awesome, and so thank you for all that you do. And so, anyways, I know that you're busy. And I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.